Hi, welcome to another exciting.
Okay.
Kurt does the same thing repeatedly.
Gotcha.
Maybe I don't speak English that well, but I know funny.
Yeah, well.
He repeats the same things over again.
He repeats the same things over and over again.
What? Yeah, I was gonna say, what
Okay, imaginary friends run away from him.
Friends run away from him.
And he should let his hair down metaphorically.
All the time?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What's your diagnosis?
Terminal.
Okay, well,
Not enough sex, no orgasm.
not enough sex.
Anyway, we have Jody Wood here.
That's why we get along.
I'm not even doing a preamble. We have international actor Jody Wood. Jody has done. Let's go over what he's done. Jody started off in soap operas, Guiding Light, One Life to Live. Then he did a lot of TV: Brooklyn South, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Party of Five, Jag, Seventh Heaven, Diagnosis Murder. He played Mr. Cameron opposite Rob Lowe in The West Wing. Are you ready to look into Rob Lowe? Yes, you are. He's worked with Tony Danza in Family Law, Bo Bridges in The Agency, David Caruso, who a lot of people don't like, I heard, in CSI Miami. He's also been in such movies, one of my favorite, LA Confidential. He was in Boogie Nights, Rules of Engagement, Samuel L. Jackson, Jamie Lee Curtis. It goes on and on, blah, 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 Boston Public. He's also a gifted, and I might sound biased, because I'm not only am I a talk show host, I'm also a customer of JW Acting. And now JW Acting
Right.
is celebrating its 10th anniversary. And
JW Actor
give us a little
Studio.
synopsis of what's been going on these 10 years and what we have to look forward to.
Yeah, it's JW Actor Studio, only because as an homage to the Actor Studio in New York. That's really all it is. But we're excited to be celebrating our 10th anniversary coming up here in 2017. It kind of just happened. You know, I was in LA working quite a bit and doing my thing, and we came back here for several reasons to get back and do it from the New York, the East Coast again. And just started. I never thought I'd run an acting studio ever. I thought, that's furthest thing from what I'd be doing. But people started saying, "Hey, Jody, my son's got an audition. He's got a manager now. Can you help him with an audition?" "Yeah, sure. Come on over." And then word started spreading around, and I started charging a few bucks an hour to do that. And
Oh, really? There's no plan?
no, not at all. I was just working as an actor and doing my thing, voiceovers and stuff.
So private tutorials became assistant for you.
Because one woman who's running some things here in Princeton, her daughter was one of my clients, if you will, and then we started talking about the Princeton Dance and Theater Studio down in Forestall Village, and they had a theater program there that wasn't going very well. It was being run by some folks out of New Brunswick, and it just wasn't happening. And so I said, well, I'd like to give it a shot. So I kind of worked for them for about 8 months doing acting classes. Very few people signing up, but I started building this thing, and I could see why that the theater portion wasn't going very well, because it was really 100% focused on ballet. And I even tried to make deals with them. I said, "This is going to be an acting studio. Can we take all these ballet slippers down and make it look a little more manly?" And they finally did that. And but I could see that they weren't really pushing it. So I thought, I like this. I think I'm pretty good at this. I'd like to see if I can build something here in Princeton, and I did. So we made a deal, and it all worked out. And the reason I started doing this, if you don't mind me saying, was that I had children that grew up here. After living in South Pasadena, California for a number of years, we came back to Hopewell, and I started seeing a lot of the shows and plays around here in the schools, because friends of ours, kids were growing up, and Hopewell School, Princeton High School, PDS, lots of different places, and I thought, man, this music is really good. Mm-hmm. The singing is outstanding. The choreography is amazing. The acting was nothing, to be honest with you. I hate to say it, but it's true. I thought it would in musicals especially, the acting was just an excuse to get to the next song. Mm-hmm. I thought, man, if these kids could learn what the craft of acting really is, boy, there can be some seriously good productions.
That leads you. How do you take the person and let them grow? How do you transform them? The process, so to speak, be it improv or scene study.
Well, I'm very improvisationally based. I learned a lot of things through the years based on techniques taught by some of the great acting teachers of the 20th century, Uta Hagen, Sandy Meisner, and people like Stella Adler. I kind of combined the things I learned from them, and then there's the goddess of improv, Viola Spolin, who was improv really changed my life.
You were in the Groundlings.
I was
right.
with the Groundlings East. They came here from LA, and they opened up in East Coast.
Is this a comedy-based improv?
Yeah, that's comedy-based.
Yeah. Okay.
There are the precursor to a lot of things, Second City TV and everything, and in improv, for those who don't know, is that correct?
SCTV, Second City is the giant.
Mm-hmm.
They're the giant, and the Mike Nichols and Elaine May and all those people, it just, it's still to this day the giant.
Why are you on this show right now? I don't get it. Anyway, go on. I just denigrated myself. Anyway.
Why am I on the show? You're my friend.
You're talking about Adler and Brando and everything.
I don't know those people. I'm just saying I learned their techniques.
You've been in that world, though.
I've learned their techniques,
right,
and they've worked for me, and they don't work, whatever works for you. Yeah. I kind of combine those things that I learned from these, not from them, actually, from their disciples. I'm not that old, Adam. Jesus Christ.
No, but we were around when some of these giants still walked the earth.
Well, like when Brando and Pacino and those guys were learning from Strasberg and those people, we were growing up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Pacino's like 72 now, so.
But, I was asked to write down why I think you're good. And again, I am a customer, so you might call me biased. So, because you really are attuned to what the class needs and what they want and their skills. And at the same time, you don't give anyone, phony advice, but you are so nurturing at the same time, and you're compassionate and you're creative and you're energetic and stuff. And you listen to what people want to do. And you tailor the class. Again, you do improv. You do You do lessons by yourself with someone else. You do scenes. Now you're doing with what? We have a testimonial right here.
I'm a testimonial. Yeah, to the classes, of course, that I've been in. But I've also been doing individual coaching sessions with Jody for voiceover work. It's been marvelous. It's just been so fascinating.
Well, how have you changed as a person?
How have I changed?
Confidence, talking to other people.
Yeah, I think it's been a slow sort of manifestation of parts of myself that I was out of touch with for many years. Kind of the more creative side of myself. Although paradoxically, being a psychotherapist, what really has struck me is how much what Jody teaches sounds like what I do in therapy with people. Which is
so not only you discover your id, you gain confidence.
Right.
What are some of the basic techniques that you're learning here?
Well, and you can talk about this. It's your class,
yeah.
but talk about the listening and about that authenticity and truth in the present moment, because that's what you want to do if you're a good therapist. That's what you want to have happen in therapy. So, go ahead.
The number one thing, and anyone will tell you this that knows anything about acting, all the greats will tell you the number one thing an actor has to do is to listen. To really listen and be fully focused in every moment to moment. We've talked about moment to moment work.
I didn't hear what you said. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, that's exactly.
He's listening.
Yeah, see, but that's actually true. But people don't really listen a lot of times.
They don't.
In life,
and the older we get, the less we listen. And you show that what we miss. When we do some of the exercises, I really did miss what that person was doing because I wasn't focusing.
Right. And in improvisation, that can be the death of the scene. If I miss something because I'm not listening or I'm trying to think of something funny to say down the road, I missed a moment there.
Right.
And improvisation, we always said that every moment is an explosion of opportunity. Right. And you never know what's going to happen.
Well, you keep it fun at the same time. I was afraid you're going to be like, we must do the art, and you must suffer, and you must listen to me. I was afraid of that.
I hated stuff like that. I walked out of classes like that. I couldn't stand them.
Yeah.
These hoity-toity acting
kind
teachers,
of pedantic,
yeah, make you fearful to go in the room.
But it's fun. It's a game. You still learn, and you still understand what you're trying to put through. But we have a good time.
Yeah.
And then we kind of come together, at least for that brief time, as a family. Dysfunctional, so maybe.
I'll tell you, this past couple of classes was amazing. Everybody bonded like that. Went out for drinks. Went out for dinner, whatever. You had the party at your house. You had the rehearsal when I was out of town.
Yeah.
What about the business model? Are you even getting bigger now? They're doing corporate. I mean, every time I talk to you, you're coming back from California or Las Vegas. Unless you're just having fun. I don't know.
No, it's fun. I love what I do.
Oh, okay. You're not betting. It's not showgirls.
No, God, no. That's the last thing I would need.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, I have a leg of this business called Play for Success, which is a improv-based corporate organizational team building workshops that I do. And I get teams together to really, again, listen to one another, build on each other's ideas, which you have to do in improv. Focus and collaborate. Communication is so key today. I mean, there's so many people that are organizations that are just dysfunctional, and there's too many silos and blah blah blah. It's just so what I do is get the teams together, And we run depending on the specific issue that they have, like breaking down silos. Our team isn't communicating enough. We don't collaborate enough. We need more team building. We need more support of one another. But the key with improv, as you guys know, is building on the other's idea. Yes and. The two magic words that can change your life, really. Yes and. Do you say yes to everything in life? Of course not. But it's the basis, the foundation of improvisation is yes, I'm listening, and I'm going to build on that idea. Maybe a terrible idea in the beginning, but at least it had that opportunity to breathe and live and could grow into something really great. And that happens so many times with the corporate.
But you've also seen people grow with people because of that. Because you can use improv in everyday life.
Absolutely. The confidence that kids that I've worked with have used, oh my God, over the years. You know, Jody, my son's raising his hand in class much more. My daughter is just doing much better on their tests. They get up and have no fear doing their presentations in class. And they go on and on and on. And one of the great stories I had, there was a girl, I don't know if I can say her name, but she's a Princeton resident, and she's doing really, really well now. She's been with me since she was 14 years old. She's now on her own, you know, doing her thing. We get together once in a while to work.
Well, we can say you got Meryl Streep.
She looks just like her, though. Anyway, we were doing some interviews for local newspapers around here a couple of years ago. She was doing a TV show with De Niro and a Spike Lee movie and all this great stuff. And
you've not done that from me, but anyway,
she's much prettier than you.
Okay,
but. Anyway, I'm walking out of we're walking down Nassau Street, and this young man comes out, this guy Milos,
Well, you're not a therapist, so you can say people's names, can't
anyway,
you?
Milos was a great kid. He was in war-torn Serbia, Yugoslavia, and he was really, nervous, and he couldn't stand still or look anybody in the eye when I first met him, so we worked on these techniques, and through acting and improv. I'm telling you, 3 years later, he came walking out of the Nassau Street. I'm doing this thing with Lizzie. I'm so proud of her and all this stuff. And he said, Mr. Wood. I said, you call me Jody. Jody, I just wanted to let you know that I got into the political science program at Georgetown University. And I know that I could have never done that if it wasn't for your class.
Wow.
That made me feel better than saying this girl was in a Robert De Niro movie. I swear, it's improv.
Right.
And so the things we do for kids around here is just so
Before I get from questions from the Princeton audience, because they asked me, can you give your bona fide, do a little hyping for yourself, how they can reach you, what your website is? I like the way you did your website. It seems to be done. Very, very interactive, very easy to use.
We're still actually trying to improve that, but thank you. It's www.jwactorstudio.com, 1S, and playforsuccessnj.com is for the corporate stuff. And I've been doing a lot of significant work around here in Princeton area, because there's so many great Bristol Myers Squibb, etc. Munich Reinsurance, it's been awesome.
Yeah, the corporate side. Okay, Jody, a question from the audience. What emotional trauma got you into acting? Did your parents want to disown you from Staten Island? You're a Staten Island boy,
from
right?
Staten Island, yeah.
Adam wrote that question.
That was not for me, although you might have thought so.
I don't know exactly what emotional trauma led to it. I was one of 8 kids, the seventh of 8 kids.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Irish Catholic family, Staten Island. And I guess, we have a very funny family, and, I just had to keep up, I guess. I always thought I was going to be a cop, so I never really thought about it.
Instead, you play one on TV.
I played one on TV. It's much safer.
Russell Crowe was a nice guy. You said
very nice.
Okay.
Great guy.
I'm not a talk show host, but I play one on TV.
Okay, Jody, I don't think anyone can make me lose my inhibitions. How can improv or acting, especially in front of, how can you lose inhibitions doing that? Maybe you've already answered that question, but.
No, I've answered it several times, and you can see it, I have a way of making people feel safe and a really good environment where it's okay. No one's judging anybody.
Right.
Because those kinds of improv is a very scary word. It's like, oh my God, I have to be funny, I have to be brilliant, I have to be, you don't have to be anything, just be present. And just try it.
And pay your bill.
Pay the bill, yeah. Make sure the check is good,
What, as an actor, everyone wants to be an actor, I guess. What advice would you give to your younger self to save yourself time to get in the biz? Because, listen, to be honest, I'm not saying you're George Clooney, but you still acted. You're in the top 1%, because most actors actually don't make a living doing it.
Right.
So
definitely not George Clooney. Work harder. I would give myself that. I would give my younger self that advice. Work harder at it. Don't ever, to try to cut corners. Don't don't take no for an answer
And poison your competition.
and poison the competition.
But in the final minute, then you have to be really focused. I mean, getting married might not be an option. All that kind of stuff might be.
Yeah, well, you know, I got married right out of school. I don't know if that's the best advice to give a young actor, but it was tough, very tough, many times. But she understood the world that we were in, and but you know, I've got 2 great kids. I love them. I'm proud of them. My daughter's out in LA now.
Lucy
acting
Wood,
and
who was on this
singing.
show.
That's
Is
right.
she
She
an
was on
actor
this
as
show.
well?
She's an actor as well.
Wow.
And she's a great singer and songwriter. So, but,
We have to wrap it up. Any more questions before we let Jody go? Anything
No,
else?
I just want to say that I think that it's amazing the way you are able to create that safety and spontaneity in the class and to just create this atmosphere that's non-judgmental and playful. And I think that's what really allows people to access these different parts of themselves that maybe they didn't know were there.
Yes, and we
Yes.
have to wrap it up, though. I'm sorry, but Jody Wood, thank you very much. Hope
Thank
you come
you.
back again. And check out
welcome.
Jody W. Wood Acting.
jwactorsstudio.com.
He's not going to let me back now because I watched
Nah.
it. Thank you. We'll be right back. Back again with a Princeton, New Jersey institution. Even if you don't know her, you've seen her. That's Mary Ann Haas. Haas. I can't say her name. But prescript. Mary Ann has traveled the world, living and working for the betterment of international education. Supporting education has been her life's work and passion. She did not come to education internationally in the traditional sense as a classroom teacher, but her late husband, Stanley, was a teacher and headmaster in Greece and Rome and other places, and you worked with him. And after his death, you worked in many other international institutions. You came here to Princeton to work for International School Services, and now you are, should we say, the reigning queen of the Weatherspoon Street Grill. They get a free plug. Maybe I'll get an hors d'oeuvre there. And so, we welcome Mary Ann Haas. How are you, Mary Ann?
Thank you.
First of all, let's just say you look smashing.
Oh,
I mean, this is a really
thank
fantastic
you.
getup you got here, and I've seen you around town, and you've got the colors in your hair. Now, this is something, you know, you're not a young person. This is now, where did you get the ideas to go with these colors? I mean, because it's very creative.
Oh, I've been like this for years, and I just love color, and I just love doing these things. And the interesting thing is, you see me walking down the street.
Always. I thought you were a prostitute.
Everybody, you know, and I get a kick out of it because I know sometimes when I'm walking down the street, someone will stop me and they'll say, "Have you been in fashions?" And I say, "No." And then after a while, I start to think about it, because my late husband once said to me, "Tell people what they want to hear."
Key to success.
So
There you go.
that happened. The next time someone said something to me like that, I said,
So you say, I'm Coco Chanel.
I said, "In the past." And the other thing that really I must say is everybody in town knows that I'm 90 because I'm kind of proud of it. But I must say, one day a woman stopped me and said to me, "I hear you're 91. And I thought, I couldn't believe, instead of just smiling, I said, "Actually, I'm really 90. And then afterwards I laughed. I thought, you know,
Adam's
I'm
12.
vain.
Did some people think you were on the Titanic or something? You know, younger people have no sense of history or time. I guess you can play things. Now, quickly, I'll do a quick synopsis. Born in Seattle, raised by a rabbi as a father, but you kind of left the tribe in a sense when you married
Well,
Stanley.
I was born in Seattle, the oldest of 5 kids, and I was the only girl. And my father and mother were immigrants from Russia. My father had been a Talmud scholar, and they met in New York through a matchmaker. And my father was offered a job in Seattle, Washington, so you can imagine. Went to Seattle, but he always sort of had to be the head of teaching boys to be bar mitzvah. He was a Talmudic scholar. He goes to Seattle, then comes back and gets married to my mother to bring her there, and said, it's a beautiful place. You'll love it, mountains. So they get there, and they had not much money, and they lived in a neighborhood where there was only one other white person. The rest were all blacks. And there were Jews that lived in Seattle, but they were fancy and they were what they called the Reform, and they kind of looked down upon people like my
Vivacious Vivian. Do you have any commentary? Being of the Jewish stock too, and more first generation. What is she talking about?
Well, it's funny that you tell this story about something that happened more than 90 years ago, because I have relatives who moved to Seattle about 20 years ago, and they told me a few years ago that where they live in Redmond, the Jews that are fancy now look down on them. They don't live in the fancy neighborhood.
Sounds like it hasn't changed
now,
much.
yeah.
Sounds very New
But
to me,
the interesting part of it was that it was a wonderful experience for me, because that's how I got to know a lot of black people who really used to watch out for me. And then the neighborhood got a little bit, not so good, and they said, Mary Ann, stop walking the streets like that. Anyway, I rebelled at the age of 17. I went to New York after finishing high school.
A lot of Jews in New York, though. A lot of Jews in New York, though.
So, I must say, my parents were glad to get rid of me because I was such a rebel. And I lived there for a year, came back to Seattle for a year, moved to San Francisco, met my husband. But I must say, of the four brothers, one died not long ago, and he was really a very sweet, caring person. But all of them are ultra Hasidim, and out of that.
So you're hanging out with the Schwarzes and the Goyim and the Yankees and all that stuff.
Well, I want you, and hear me, I want you to know, my mother had 5 kids. Out of the 5 kids, she had 47 grandchildren, and I only had 2. So you can imagine. As the years have gone by, I'm the only one that rebelled. And there are over...
And you're still rebelling.
Right. And there are over 500 in that
okay,
family.
we have to cut you short, though, because Bob even warned, I got to cut you short, because we got to get in the rest of your life, and I got to get these guys in.
Yeah.
You want to ask
so
questions?
what I want to know is your secret to longevity.
Why aren't you dead yet? She's basically
the
asking.
longevity. Well, my mother lived to 95.
Okay, genetics.
And the interesting thing about it is they used to have a saying like, you should live to 120. And when I went to visit her in the hospital, she was, just had not much time left. But even before that, when I used to say you should live to 120, she said, when you're 95, that's not long enough.
Interesting.
So that's the longevity.
Can you do anything about to get him hair?
Ooh, I
Anyway.
like that.
Anyway, we've got to move on. So you have an international background, too. And can you discuss a little bit about that in about 6 minutes or less? You were in Greece and then Rome and everything else, and how that helped your life out.
Oh, well, it was marvelous. It was absolutely marvelous. It did so much for my kids, and I just feel so fortunate. I still hear from people that I knew. I have friends from all over the world.
Yeah, you really don't have to pay for a hotel. Airbnb is not your thing. You can stay any place you want, basically.
You can couch
Rome
surf.
was
You can
my
couch
most
surf, yeah.
favorite city, probably because it was the first one that I really, 8 years.
How did you wind up in Princeton?
Well,
Thank you.
we were living in Athens, Greece, and my husband was at first the head of a school, large school in Athens, international, and then he took over this near
Go ahead.
East South Asia Council of Overseas School, and I worked along with him. We traveled everywhere, and it was fabulous. Our region was the Middle East, and it was great. And my kids already were living in the States, having their own. My husband died in 1995, and they asked me to stay one more year till the new person could come in. And I got, after the year was almost over, they said I could stay on to be director of development. You know what that means, just a fancy
honorary
title. They
title.
never had one anyway after that. But someone that we knew who had been the head of the school in India had been working for the State Department in Washington, D.C., and got offered a job as the president of International School Services. Well, he had applied for it, and he called me up and he said, will you write a letter of recommendation for me? Well, I was glad because he was a wonderful person, and I had this fancy title that had been my husband's title. Mm-hmm. And 2 days later, he called up and he said, I got the job. How would you like to come and work for me?
Nice.
That's a fantastic story.
And that was in Princeton?
And that's how I came to Princeton.
Okay.
And that was 1996, and so I've been here 20 years.
And I like Marianne because she's the one-stop shopping. You're basically you're 3 degrees of separation of anyone in this town. You know them, you've met them, you talked with them, which makes it interesting. Any final thoughts or comments before we move on? We have 1 more minute.
Marianne, I think that you're an inspiration to all of us. How many languages do you speak?
Well, I speak, I'm lucky if I speak English well, but I know Italian quite well, and a bit of Spanish. Greek, I could get by because most of the people that I dealt with spoke English.
How about Yiddish?
I know that well. And Hebrew.
And Marianne, and Marianne, I'm going to Hallmark Hall of Fame ending. One thing she'll say in any language is hello, and she'll speak to anyone. Very welcoming, very giving, very nurturing. Thank you very much, Marianne Haas, for coming on. And maybe I could be in your will or something. I'm just asking.
Thank you for inviting me.
With the 500 nieces and nephews, no problem.
Who's your real fan? Who really loves you, baby? Who really loves you, baby? With us, Marti Davis of Killer Beam Entertainment, and the new movie. It was a short in Philadelphia, The Knit, starring Leela Ann Davis. Mm-hmm. We have Jeff Gallup, Julie Chapin. Who's the other woman who was in that?
Heather Britton Scanlon.
Directed by the nephew of famed director Terrence Malick, his nephew Gary Malick, and we have the name of Andy Kumpman, was his name, directed them? Yes, mm-hmm. The Knit. And we have Marti Davis. What was your role on the film, and why should we see it?
Oh, well, if you want to be scared, you should see the film. It is a thriller. My role on the film is executive producer and casting director. I came on board as a result of Leela Jean Davis being brought on board and cast originally as the lead actress, who is a teen who discovers that there is a haunting that comes through Periscope, and I can give you a little more detail on that. But I came on board to help with casting the other characters under my Blue Ribbon Productions organization, and then so in association with Killer Beam. And then as a result of casting, they brought me on as executive producer to help with the actual production, and then the post-production that we're doing now. We're doing film festivals and promoting the film.
Here's a scene from the movie, okay? I'm going to act it out.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah, but you.
Did I scare you?
I'd have to turn around. You have to sneak up.
Okay.
That's what's going on here.
Briefly,
There's a lot of sneaking.
Oh,
Whoa.
thanks. Ben. Briefly, the synopsis is on the spot of the haunting, this was a factory, someone was burned to death.
Inspired by true events in New York City, turn of the century, the seamstress that were all immigrant
Triangle
women. That,
fires.
yes, the clothing company that had these seamstress basically locked into the workspace to work, all day, practically all
Sweats,
night.
yeah,
Sweat
sweat
shops,
factory, yeah.
exactly. And this one caught on fire, terrible working conditions, it caught on fire. And as a result, many of these women either jumped to their deaths or were burned, the ones that could get to windows. And this was an inspiration for Gary. Gary created the storyline with Andy, who's our writer. Andy can take any concept and write it out with amazing script. And so they created the storyline, the two of them, based on one of these women who had been...
Julie Chapin, horribly disfigured, a lot of makeup.
Who plays, yes, she has to have a lot of makeup to look as scary as she does in this. But so she plays one of the women who was an older woman who would knit gifts for the other workers, for their children. She would do socks and booties and blankets and so forth. That was like her backstory. And as a result of being killed in this horrible, horrific fire, she comes back when the building is refurbished and tech companies move in. More currently, it's tech companies, technology, and channeling through social media. Periscope is the app that she comes through and starts haunting people via the app.
Perfect recipe for a ghost, though. Tragic death, not ready to go. And what is the two juveniles who play that your daughter? We have to say Leela Jean Davis and Jeff Gallup.
Yes.
And what are their roles, protagonists?
Their roles are as teens who are using the site. Teens are checking out every app out there, and in fact, Leela, who plays Katie, she ends up finding this app early on, I guess, on her own, and seeing the ghost. And the ghost, if you see her and she sees you, she will come after you and kill you. And so that's like the urban legend about her. And when you go to her site, you might see the rocking chair, and she's in this dark space, like an attic space, rocking and knitting, and you don't, if she looks at you and talks to you, she's going to come after you, and that's what happens.
Isn't this the same thing as like Pokemon?
Yeah, hunting for Pokemon, same sort of thing, along the same lines, except for, once you find her, you really want to get rid of her, whereas in Pokemon, you want to keep most of those characters.
Yeah, I actually have no idea what Pokemon is.
Oh, okay.
All
the kids are on all that stuff. Yeah. So in any case, she's communicating with her boyfriend, and who's played by Jeff Gallup, who plays Kyle. And we actually shot that, believe it or not, we shot that live, like with both of them on cell phones in different rooms at the same time. So you can see on their screens, we're shooting over the shoulder. And I love going into this behind the scenes, how things are really made. And so we're shooting over the shoulder while she's talking with Kyle, and they're FaceTiming on their iPhones.
Right, on Periscope. I learned all this.
Yeah, so you learn all this. Yeah. So they're communicating back and forth, and then we give the viewer, the ability to really read, because I always hate in the movies when you can't read what people are typing. So Andy, who's our editor, really zooms in and gives our viewers the ability to see their conversation and be on top of what they're talking to each other and then typing to each other, texting. So the story sort of unravels, and Jeff, as Kyle, does a great job with giving the backstory of saying, telling people. He identifies to Katie, oh, you're bored tonight. Well, why don't you go on Periscope? Why don't you, check out the
For those who don't know, Periscope
stuff.
is like you can instantly do something live, like YouTube it live. Right?
Yes, it's live video feeds. So
Right.
a lot of people do blogs where they're typing a blog about what's going on in their life. These are actual live video clips of them doing something, and they're like, check me out at 2 o'clock, I'll be
Right.
on, throwing balls into a cup on the other side of the room.
I'm
whatever.
ready for sexual innuendo,
And-
but I'm not going to do it.
okay.
So this
So
movie
anyway.
is finished, and how's it being marketed?
Yeah, this is the short film version.
Stop. Killer Beam Entertainment and Blue Ribbon Production. The Knit. Go.
Yes. We're using this short film to promote the film to get investors on board and funding for a feature-length script that's already written, and we're going to start casting that. So there's this is like one segment of the old Nitty killing someone and giving you the view of what she's all about and how evil she is and how deadly. It's quite scary. But the actual storyline expands quite a bit as to how she comes through and finds the different people that she is going to kill. So it's a real horror story.
light.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a clip of this, and after the clip, we have 2 minutes, but we're going to be seeing a clip in a moment. Maybe you can set it up for us, the 15-second clip, and then afterwards we'll have the actual combatants, as they call them, the front line, the actors who make the imaginary real, and hopefully make this a scary film. So what are we about to see, though?
You're going to see it's a trailer, and it's got a lot of the nuances of the film. They're brought together so that you get a sense of like the creepiness of this film. It's really, truly a thriller. And
I get a sense of the creepiness of this show.
No, he could be creepy. I want to see I have an idea that anyone who texts while they drive gets killed horribly by some kind of demon.
that she jumps in the back seat of the
something
car,
like that.
takes care of them.
That's a great idea.
That is a great idea, and I'll definitely
He's
pass
mocking
that
both of
on.
us.
I'm
No,
sure.
I'm serious.
You
Yeah,
know,
it is.
actually,
you're not
we
mocking
could
me.
incorporate that. You
Because
know?
it could
Because
be a
if you
social
have-
message about the dangers.
Yes,
Well, I like
yes.
the idea of the knit, though, because it's
So-
true. I mean, you learn all about social media for those who don't know, but then you incorporate the dead, the past,
Right.
another Victorian time, a gilded
Right.
age, so to speak.
Right.
So we'll be going, Marti Davis of Killer Beam Entertainment and
Yes.
Blue Ribbon, of course.
Yes.
We'll be going to see a clip with who's going to be in it?
This will have Julie Chapin, and it will have Leela, Jean Davis. Julie plays the old ninny, and Leela plays Katie, the
What
lead
are they going to
actress.
have? What are they going to be
It'll be
discussing?
very brief. It's
Are
a
they
15
discussing
second.
Kafka?
15 seconds
15
long. Play it.
Discussing Kafka, or should be scary?
Before we play it, I do want to announce that Leela won Best Actress in our first film festival that we were accepted in, and our first film we premiered down in Philadelphia at the Liberty Massacre, and she won Best Actress for this film. So that was
And
very exciting
so let's
accolade.
go to award-winning Leela Jane Davis and Julie Chapin in the knit. Adam Bierman, we're back with the cast of The Knit. I got Kurt out of here. He's probably cleaning toilets, which he's very good at. The Knit again is we have right here we have Best Actress Leela Ann Davis. Any jealousy? You played the boyfriend, Mr. Gallup. What's
Yes.
his first name?
Jeff.
Jeff Gallup plays the boyfriend, and we have the witch. I don't know.
The witch? No, not the
Ghost,
witch.
Julie
Harsh.
Chapin.
Yeah.
And also I got to give a shout out to Lauren Dupree of Average Superstar Films, who's been on this show before. And we have the cat, and keep holding that up, whatever you do. So anyway, what are your contributions quickly? Let's see how cogent you can be. What do you play? What's your motivation in this role, Jeff Gallup?
I am the boyfriend. That is my name and my part. My name is Kyle. I am the boyfriend. So basically my character sets up the exposition, sets up the story, sets up the plot, he's the setupper, and he's also the comic relief.
Mm-hmm. And you narrate the film about this ghost comes up through the ghost, comes through Periscope. And who does the ghost see first? Your girlfriend, award winner Leela Ann Davis?
Yes, she does.
Leela Jean.
The ghost.
Leela.
It's okay.
You look like an ad to me more. I'm sorry. Go on.
Well, okay.
The ghost does attack Leela, my wonderful girlfriend, and it's pretty bloody.
I don't know if they
It's a
approve of
bloodbath.
this interaction of you two. Because I know what I was like, man. I don't know. But we'll get to that's another story. So, what about you? What did you bring to the role? Leela
well,
and Jane Davis. What's your name? Jane. Thank you. Best actress.
yeah, I am the one being haunted by Julie, and I have encountered her before, but then Jeff is kind of playing with me, and he tries to get me all scared, and it actually works because I know she's real, but everybody else thinks she's
so he's
not.
playing with you. He's fun, having
Yeah.
fun. Did you guys have good chemistry? Did you like do homework together? Watch Teletubbies? What?
No, we didn't watch Teletubbies.
We're a Sesame Street family.
Yeah,
Thank you
Okay,
very
gotcha.
much.
Thanks. But we, before we started shooting, we kind of just sat and talked, and we got along great.
Did your mother monitor these things? No. So do you have any jealousy that she won this award, though? Or are you happy for her?
I couldn't actually go to the event. I wish I could.
You had to go to bed. We know. No. I heard you're very good, actually. Yes, but
I had a show that day. They brought me in through Skype.
Yeah.
I was eating a sandwich. It was kind of awkward.
very
but-
nice,
Yeah.
very nice. And before we get to Julie Chapin, what did you bring to the role? What are you proud of in your acting? I'll start with you, Gary. Jerry.
Jeff.
George. Anyway.
My character was actually very similar to me as a person, so it didn't require that much of a stretch as an actor. I'd consider myself a very overly sarcastic person who would probably make up a story like that to scare a person. So, pretty much me.
Exaggerated, but you show up on time, you know your lines. You seem kind of much more mature than I was at your age, probably even now. What about you, Leela? To get the Best Actress Award, what quality do you think these judges saw in you in your performance?
Well,
And I will fall asleep because I'm tired, so show me.
I think I am definitely very good at playing scared, and I consider that something that I do really well. And thanks to the makeup artist, Julie was very scary, so I didn't have to play it up that much.
That's a good point. Acting was on. So, Julie, you said this is like one of your best roles ever. I mean, what did you get into? How did you get into this role? How did you put up with the makeup? Sounds like it took a long time.
It was very challenging because there was very little of me that you would recognize.
I agree.
Honestly, and I don't normally play evil, but it was kind of a revelation to myself to find out that, God darn it, it's right in there. You know, you can bring that out. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I was scared. I didn't recognize myself.
Yeah.
And I guess the best part of it was her reaction, because I could see.
Best actress, Ethel Bierman.
Best looking. We're going.
No, but if you are working with someone else and you can see in their eyes absolute terror, which is what was there, I mean, that just makes you feel the power. That
Right.
Yeah.
So reacting, a lot of times just reacting, giving us a good sounding board to react. But how did you find the malevolent side? Is that the SAT word I'm looking for in you? Because you got to be nasty. You want to kill. You're angry.
I'm not going to give away what I was thinking, but there is always something in you that makes you really want to go out, maybe in your case, punch someone or do something. And I was able to come up with some motivation. And when you hear the background of the story, which I think is in the beginning of the movie.
It is.
Right? Okay. This poor woman. And my name is actually Nettie White. Nettie White, which is kind of like somebody famous. Betty White? Okay.
Betty White.
Yeah. But they call me the old Nitty. Okay. I died at the turn of the century in one of those sweatshops where you did people, all the seamstresses were.
Right,
and it was a terrible fire, and it's based on a true fact. And so there is anger from that for the character. Okay. Where I got my anger comes from another place, but it was appropriate, I think.
Right. Were you basically the straight guy who then? So there's some comic acting here too. Are you kind of like a straight man, the protagonist for more jokes or something?
A lot of jokes, a lot of over-the-top facial expressions, little all that stuff.
Yeah.
I was the straight man. I was the guy who just kind of did that.
How long is the trailer? How long is the movie right now? And,
Do you know?
10 minutes?
10-ish.
10 minutes.
10, 15.
Because again, I heard it's very scary, and I haven't had a chance even to
Yeah.
see it. Because actually, I went to a party the night of the
Yeah.
film and everything. 'Cause I
Even I was scared.
you were scared.
I was very scared, which is why I don't normally do this genre, but I might do it again. In fact, this film hopefully will become a feature. Isn't
Yeah.
that the idea behind
Well,
it?
you're heading for the feature. So how would the roles be expanded then? Would the original premise be expanded, or in a sense?
I think there would be definitely character additions, and I think it would be kind of the same kind of overall theme, but there would be definitely some major
In
differences.
our final 2 minutes, though, have any of you had any brushings with the supernatural, or made you think differently about this genre to play in?
When I was really little, about 3 years old, I don't even know if this actually happened because I vaguely remember it happening, but my mom says this happened, so gotta trust mommy. I lived in an old house in Oakland, and
New Jersey.
New Jersey, not California. And in the basement, I walked downstairs one day, and apparently there was a boy, maybe a little older than me at the time, I was probably around 3, that was all black, rocking in the corner.
My God.
That's pretty intense.
Oh, and your mom said this is true?
My mom said that I came up running upstairs and told her about this.
Right.
I could still picture it in my head, but I don't know if it was a dream or not.
Maybe it was radon or electromagnetic thing. Anyway, that's scary, though, and you remember, and
It
you actually
was.
did act that way and everything. Besides your mom demanding a lot of you, which can be scary. No, I'm just joking. I love Marty. Anything in your life, though, it made you think differently about the supernatural.
I don't know. I've always been wary of stuff like that because I've definitely heard stories from people that I know, people that I love, that they've encountered like demons and
Really?
yeah, especially that's why I don't play with Ouija boards. Kids, don't play with Ouija boards. They're
Right.
dangerous.
Well, you make scary movies, though. Why don't you
Yeah, and I've played ghosts before in Celebrity Ghost
Oh,
Stories.
I remember that.
and-
Yes,
yeah.
yes, I do.
And
Yeah.
that was a lot of makeup too.
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah,
Yes, the
and
boxer, right.
these are all true stories that have happened to people. So I'm definitely there's another world out there, guys.
Well, another incantation, you were a lawyer, so that reality could be scary enough. I mean, but anyway, yes.
Yeah, but I did 2 of these celebrity ghost stories.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, yeah,
and
the C
one-
one. Yeah.
And on one of them, a supernatural thing actually happened, not just what we were portraying.
During the filming.
Yeah, yeah. And the movie Ghost Goggles that I did out in California, I have on tape a voice. The house that we taped it in was supposedly a haunted place.
Wow.
It had a landmark in front of it. And there's a voice, help me, help me. So if you don't believe, I mean, after that, so I was just praying that nothing terrible happened when we did the knit. Now, when we make it into a feature film, God help us.
Well, since I have Alzheimer's, and that's like, I gotta stay. Ghosts might be following us now. Go please see the knit. It's gonna hopefully be a feature film, and you'll see again in it. We have Jeff Gallup plays the boyfriend. Award winner Lily. I can't even say your name.
Leela.
Why don't you just finish this for me, please?
Leela Jean Davis, Katie. in the
And you
movie.
play
The old Nitty.
Julie Chapin. And so look out for the knit. And thanks for showing up. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to What's Trending with Raya. I hope you guys are enjoying the rest of your summer. I have some cool stuff for you this month that's going to be useful for the rest of your summer, the back to school season, and of course the upcoming fall months. So let's get started. My first item is Metal of Pearl. So we're still in the season of wanting to wear flowy, effortless clothes, but still we want to look on trend. Metal of Pearl has nailed this. So they have beautiful dresses, rompers, shirts, and more that are perfect for these hot summer days. So I have their embroidered jumpsuit and I absolutely love it. I'm also in love with their lilac velvet slip dress. It can transition perfectly for the colder months, by using some tights and motor jackets. And for our audience today in Breezing with Bierman, I have a useful code for you that you can use. You can use code trending at checkout and I will get you 20% off if you check out their items. So the next one is, I have this. You know, sometimes an outfit only needs a simple, delicate ring, necklace, or a pair of earrings. So, and the nice things about simple jewelry, you can always layer it to create more impact. I was introduced to Amanda Deere Jewelry, and I now want to buy all of their collection. Look for their confetti necklace and their delicate dot layered necklace, two of my favorites. Our next item is the Kirkley Pivot Power Strips. So normal power strips make it difficult to change electronics with, you know, larger plugs because they cannot fit in between of those smaller plugs. So these strips solve this problem because you can bend and move them into different shapes to work around each plug size. So if you're headed to college this fall, this is especially perfect for your dorm room. And then usually candles melt down and then they're just shapeless mass of wax that's ruined your table, right? Not these candles. Now I'm talking about the skeleton candles. So just in time for Halloween, and yes, fall is coming whether you like it or not, these adorable candles melt down to reveal skeleton. They come in an angry owl or gummy bears in a selection of different colors. So next time you need a gift for your Halloween loving friends and all that they love Halloween, you can always get this skeleton candles. And as always here in Breezing with Bierman, we want to go back to Princeton-centric items. So there are so many things to see and do in the Princeton-Mercer area. So I'd like you to check out visitprinceton.org for their calendar of events. If you're looking for a place to stay while in Princeton, check out their great hotel recommendations. They also have like one variety of wonderful restaurants and things to do. They also have few great annual events in the Princeton Mercer area. All can be found at www.princeton or visitprinceton.org. And there you have it, your What's Trending with Raya for this month. I hope you like them. If you have any questions, concerns, and comments, or you want to know where to get these items, reach out to me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, and it's at Raya on Twitter and Instagram, while it's at Raya Mish on Snapchat. You'll see that too in your screen. So peace out and see you next month for the next What's Trending with Raya. Baba Booey to all.
Hi, this is my favorite part of the show, the round table. I don't care if someone else doesn't like that or thinks I'm denigrating them because I'm not here for them. It's all about me. So I don't like you, I don't like you, I don't like you. So deal with it. Issue 1, political correctness takes a hit. University of Chicago President Zimmerman said there will be no safe spaces.
You can't say anything.
Safe space. Safe spaces or trigger warnings.
Trigger warning. And everything's open for discussion. And speakers of all different ilks, conservative, liberal beliefs will be invited. Comment, Kurt.
You didn't explain the premise well enough.
Yeah.
It's about political correctness on campus. You know, you need to, this is a TV show where just the listeners are not mind readers. So why don't you explain fully the concept?
Tell us more, Adam.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, political correctness has become a major problem that unfortunately so-called liberal professors, I don't call them illiberal, don't deal with it, take seriously. That is the chilling of speech, trigger warnings where people, they don't want to read anything or they might disturb them. Like, if you study law, you have to hear about rape cases, something like that. And they want safe spaces where they can be safe from anything, from anything.
So the school out in Chicago is
the University of Chicago.
Screw all that.
Finally, someone is standing up, at least a prestigious, famous school. Comment, Raya.
Comment, Vivian.
Okay, well, you asked me, I'm going to tell you. When I went to school, we studied everything, even if it was upsetting. And there were no safe spaces where our feelings had to be spared. In fact, when I was in college, the concept of literally safe spaces where your body integrity might be kept safe was just starting to happen. And I was talking to a friend about it today. We were talking about how at the University of Pennsylvania in the early 80s, they were installing panic buttons in the ladies' rooms because there were some rapes on campus in the early 80s. That was just starting to be a thing. just the beginning of not blaming the victims for actually having to walk back from the library at night and starting to say, hey, maybe we should keep female students safe.
Well, that's legitimate.
That's legitimate. That's something whose time had come and passed by the time it started to be addressed as a problem in the 80s when I was a student. But today, that concept, I think, has really been carried too far, where students are have either asked for or have just been preemptively given the right to not even have to think about things that are upsetting. So literature that we used to study has been taken off curricula for the idea that it might be upsetting. We might be upset to read about children being molested or people of different races being treated badly, so those things are no longer studied. Paintings, famous paintings that depict horrible things being done,
They don't want to
have been
see-
taken off the art history curriculum.
Right.
Different books that have gruesome stories in them have been taken off literature curricula. So I think that the University of Chicago is responding by saying, this is enough already. If these kids want to be considered grown men and women, they have to man and woman up.
Right.
Yep.
And they have
Grow
to be
up.
able to face the music. We are not going to rewrite history for them. They have to face history, they have to learn it, they have to process it, they have to read it, they have to write about it. And then they can decide for themselves how they are going to, enter the grown world.
I know why a lot of this started, though. For maybe in the late '60s, places like Princeton had to address almost like a PR move to address the bigotry, or maybe the bias, or just the unintentional of not including different subjects, women, minorities. So they threw these academic disciplines together, women's studies, with really no rigorous approach to scholarly input about or how the curriculum's going to be. And they were taken over, I think, by people who were zealots or they wanted power. And then you get these kids who've been raised by helicopter parents, it seems, and raised on like this thing about everything has to be neutral and we have to have a safe space. And it's a toxic poison. And I blame also universities for not addressing it. And I think one thing is, too, they're competing for students so much. They want, like, the customer's always right. We want you to be happy. Come to our school, pay the $50,000 tuition and stuff. But it is time for uncultivated, especially professors. Some of them are neurotic idiots with no basic culture in Western art, deciding the curriculum just based on them being offended.
So you're voting for Trump?
No. and stuff. So hopefully some common sense will come back. And when the '60s started, it was to challenge, orthodox thinking. It was to challenge, ways of life. And now it's more about suppressing it.
One thing that I've noticed in my lifetime is that history has been rewritten. Things that were facts when I was a child are now not facts anymore.
Like what?
Well, we can get into it, but historical facts.
Give us one. We have a nice
the history of the
Yeah.
State of Israel. We're going to get into that now. This is going to blow up.
In 2 minutes, give us the entire history of Israel.
I
No,
can't
but
do
what
it
do you
right
think
now.
is being
But
what
I
do you
think-
think is grossly misrepresented?
That's
fact.
my pet project. But I can't think of one right now. Besides that might be a less of a hot
Oh,
spot.
so you're lying.
No, I said I can't
I'm
think of
kidding
one
you.
that
It's just not a
is
good
less of
example
a
right
hot
now. We don't have
spot
time.
In
Okay.
2 minutes, in 1 minute.
Yes, but it's true. Everything's and people use it as leverage. They think by saying that you're being immoral, racist, it can shut you up.
Yeah.
Instead of
But
Like
a
Kurt.
lot, but anything, anything that you can think of probably has something that has been flipped around and changed to further somebody's political agenda.
Right.
Okay, Vivian, give us one example of anything.
Oh my goodness.
Just anything.
See what it's like to be
Just
tired?
anything, right?
We should have, well, I
I'm
gave
making you
one.
think.
No, you're
See, this
putting-
isn't a safe space. You have to think here.
That's good. That's very
Yep.
true.
That is true.
And that's what Kurt is doing, making you uncomfortable so that
Yeah.
you can think.
I can make you
So
very
we need
uncomfortable.
those. We don't need those safe spaces.
Yes.
Okay, no safe space
No
here.
safe space here, but we have a time pressure.
And it's over
So it's
right
hard
now.
to think
Over
of.
right now.
Oh, it's collapsing in on me.
I'll think of one for next time.
Okay.
I'll think of 10 for next time.
Okay, that's your
We're
your
done,
homework assignment.
We're done. We're done.
Go home to your safe space.
Oh God.